Welcome to Happy Hour, brought to you by Best Damn Bookkeeping. Company 180, I don't know exactly where I want to go with this, so I'm just going to talk through my question like a really good podcast host would do. I do see more and more people in our small business spaces hearing about EOS, starting to kind of understand it and maybe use parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see Company 180 just having more and more potential? You mentioned it's kind of an EOS facilitation, like an implementer type of business, I think. Are you seeing that runway? Is it something I'm more familiar with it now, so maybe I'm just biased because I'm familiar with it and therefore I see other people being familiar with it? Or do you see that business organization template style coming into play more and more in this home service space?
So EOS is a pretty intensive operating system for you to install in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And you're generally going to need a very strong leadership team of 4 or 5 people for it to make sense.
For those that don't, we're using an acronym, so we should probably say what it is. So EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it's from the book Traction.
Yes.
And there's Get a Grip and there's Rocket Fuel. There's kind of a series of books that all play on the visionary and the integrator and your leadership team.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, I wanted to set the stage a little bit because I kind of just jumped right into it.
Well,
I said, I'm just talking my way through some questions that I haven't framed up at all. So,
that's all right.
It's real professional podcast hosting action here.
But and I eat, live, and breathe it. So I'm spitting out terms like everybody knows what we're talking about. But essentially, you go in and you find out what mission, vision, core values are. What your niche is, and really figure out the core of your business. After we do an assessment to figure out kind of where the business is. And then you do that, you have a vision day 1 and 2, you kind of get all that solidified, and then you start these things called level 10 meetings, which is a very specific format where you work through your dashboard, your KPIs, and you come up with issues off of those, and then you solve those by creating to-dos. So for example, sales are down, solve it by increasing marketing to do. Christina, run more Facebook ads. That's really how it's done, and you step it through. In order for it to be very effective, you really need a visionary, an integrator, and your visionary is a person. They're the big 30,000 foot thinker, dreamer. That's them. And then you have an integrator. These are people that love spreadsheets and diagrams and things like that. They're used to taking somebody else's vision and taking it and implementing it into a company. Super great relationship. And then you've got your leadership team that kind of just handles the to-dos and things. The problem with home services, for the most part, is if you're over 4 or 5 million, which you need to be, you really need to be at about 4 million or so for EOS to make sense in your company. You can put parts of it in there and you can run it when you're smaller, but you just kind of need that leadership team. Most companies aren't at that scale. So, and if they are, they're PE and they kind of have their own way of doing things.
Yep.
So my thought is, this is why I was like, I'm having a terrible identity crisis because I think I almost would have to invent something that is for the home service space that is basically like an EOS Lite.
Yeah.
But I can't use any of the trademark terms or anything like that. So it's a bit of an issue, but we'll figure it out.
Hey, home service heroes. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our home service happy hour content today. I sure hope you learned a little something, and I sure as heck hope that it was entertaining. If you did find it fun and entertaining, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more cool, fun, entertaining business content. And speaking of which, stay tuned. There's a little more here and a little more right here. Check it out.